Welcome to Jazz Guitar Lessons, where we help guitarists learn jazz faster, express themselves more fluently, and have fun along the way. My name is Marc, and if you're looking to learn jazz, form better practice habits, and especially if you enjoy a French accent, make sure to subscribe.
Marc?
Yeah, Kevin?
Sorry, I was late on the unmute.
Mm-hmm.
When we get to that discussion you were just talking about, if I remember, I'll bring it up. But if I forget, help me remember to bring in the title track of an album you put out.
Me? The time it took? The time it took, or second chances?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Takes a lot of time to improvise. Was that your point?
That song struck me a certain way that spoke to what we're talking about, improv.
Let's start with that. I think you have the first intuition. Did you want to listen to the song, or do you want to just talk about it?
Well, I listened to it a while back. I was just going through some stuff, and I came across it. And I was listening to it, and I ended up listening to the whole album, if you will. But I came back to that one and listened to it several times. And the thing that struck me was there are so many places in there where there's such a nuanced thing. And that's what struck me about it. I mean, if you're a casual listener, you probably may totally miss these things that I'm talking about. But if you're a very attentive listener, it hit me. I really liked it. Okay. That's all I wanted to say about that. But I guess my question to you would be, where did that come from, maybe?
Which part? The composition or the improvisation?
Sure.
No, that's two questions. Pick one. The composition or the improv?
You forced me in a corner. Composition.
Okay, composition.
Because we're going to get to the improv, right?
We'll do both. Try to pick the starting point. But it's an interesting thing because when Michael brought up the whole philosophy and improvising as a group, the first thought I had was really, you guys.
I'm sorry.
Please. Thank you. I was just thinking the last time really I played in a professional setting with my friend Phil, at one point with a drummer, another point with a clarinet, but also we just played this Portuguese restaurant chicken place with Jack and his friend. And then I played with Phil. And we played Girl from Ipanema. And we played the standards when it was like, hey, do you remember Out of Nowhere? Yeah, you came to me from out of, yeah. Do you want to do an intro? And then he was here, right? And you were on the call with Phil, my friend Phil. It's like the rehearsal was like on the way to the gig was the rehearsal, right? So what happened? Well, we did improvise in that he improvised his bass lines, but it's a supportive role. He can't just play anything. And I improvised the way the melody is rendered, the way I comp, the way we took a solo statement. But all of that is improvised. However, the framework is the song form, say for that too, which is a completely different thing as other improvisations that I have done. Some, say, more classically trained musicians will do that without a pulse, and they may do 5 group setting and just listen to each other. While sometimes there's both. There's free flowing, and then there's an organized piece. There's so many kinds of things. And I think there was a lot of explorations with that in the 60s. In, say, Ornette Coleman had a group with 2 drummers. So there's many, many ways to set up the constraints to go this is our playground. It's the same as any other game, like a game of bowling. We just made up rules to throw a ball. Right? So we do that with improv, and I think it winds up being a game, and the result is art, and there's no way to keep the score. But that's what I think. When I was in college, my last year, we had a full year of free group, and sometimes we'd improvise as a group on a word or theme. Did I tell you about the time we did Lost? No? Okay, I gotta tell you that story. I'm French, right? So we would record ourselves, like doing the entire class, or say, this is a 5-minute improv on the theme of pencil or newborn baby. What does a clarinet and 2 guitar players and 2 drummers have to say about newborn baby? It's going to be soft and funny and maybe vomit and that, right? So it could be from even a visual, like here's a painting and you guys play that for 10 minutes. Or so how do we structure it? It's not a song form, it's still improv, right? So and there's a joke upcoming. We play and pick a word out of a hat that's lost. And we play and we get lost and then eventually everyone stops playing and I keep playing and I even took off the strap and I started to smash on my leg. I was lost, right? And then we listened back to the recording and my instructor I had one-on-ones with as well. He went like, yeah, you went really wild on that. Like, what happened? I was like, yeah, well, we were lost. Like, lost? No. Your French ear and mouth, you missed that. It's lust. Like, oh. So we had all climaxed, of course, and I kept going with the strap on my leg when I was, so I really, like, everyone looked at me like, dude, that's hard lust. Like, that's hardcore sex. So there. Yeah, I was young. I learned English on the late, right? I learned English in like 18, 20-year-old, whatever. Okay, so that said, with that group, we explored many facets of improvising as a group that was not standard song-based or rock solo or neither classical. It was just another format. Sometimes it was a beat, sometimes there was no beat, sometimes it was 2 of us, sometimes like you play just that note and you keep going and the rest of you improvise around it so it's a really fun, like improv is a really fun game to play that has multiple variations. Kevin, you're up. We'll get to my tune, I promise.
That's like the story of the guy who was driving on the hill and another driver was yelling at him, quit hogging the road. And he went around the next corner and he hit a pig that was standing in the middle of the road.
Hogging.
Yeah. Hey, about this time last year, we went to Colorado.
Yeah.
Jimmy Bruno was out there.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I do.
Hey. Look at that.
Fish.
That has nothing to do with Jimmy Bruno. I caught that 5 minutes before this class started. But this morning, I was driving back from the ortho doc, and this tune came on, and I'm listening online going, wow! And I look down, and it's Jimmy Bruno. It's Polarity.
Late 90s?
Are you? Late 90s? I don't know. It's Jimmy Bruno, Polarity, and it'll get you going in the morning. I'll tell you what, it is some serious playing.
Okay. I think he had
Jimmy Bruno. Some of his earlier stuff just continues to amaze me. I gotta say. I'm going mute.
Okay, I'm looking at the year. When was that released? Yeah, I think he got his heyday.
I love that guy, and I'm
Jimmy Bruno and Joe Beck, Polarity.
2000. Yeah, that's around his most like that's probably at his peak, I think. Nice. Oh yeah. Seven string? No. That's a bridge. probably Joe Beck comping, but to what I can gather, it's the two bottom strings are a substitute for a bass because you can't get as low with a 7 string. There's some setup going on so you can comp and then, or there's the pedal that does that split. That's a good tempo. I wonder what that is. Hold on. 260. Oh, that's a standard. Is it Cherokee? I think it is. Yeah. 288. It's almost like they rode ahead on, is it Cherokee? No, it's, I'll Remember April. It's I'll Remember April. Major, minor, and 2, 5, 1, and then bridge. But the beginning part is not that. Like they made an arrangement, they probably do it in and out, and then when they solo, it's I'll Remember April changes, so they both know them. Thank you. The whole record, 2 guitars, Kevin? You know, okay. I'll check it out. Okay. Okay, Brad.
You'll never play at that speed unless you practice playing at that speed.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you got to crank it up.
Oh yeah.
And you're so not there.
Oh,
but if you shorten the phrases and just play, see if you can play one phrase close to the time and repeat it until you can.
Oh yeah.
Right?
And jam session like Montreal 300, that's not even that fast. Like 300, 320 is not, it's not unheard of to just play rhythm changes as the last set of the jam session. It's a thing.
Right.
I had friends that went like, okay, we do a session, we just jam on standards, right? And my friend goes, okay, you want to play Autumn Leaves? Yeah, okay. And then eventually he goes, well, we haven't played something in odd time yet. We haven't played a fast tempo, and we haven't played a ballad. So let's make sure we get our bases covered. Okay, let's do a 3/4 song. Okay, then let's do super fast, and let's make sure we do a super slow. Okay, then repeat. So some of my friends were more like industrious in that they would play a tune in 3, play a tune in 4, play a tune in 5, play a tune in 3 and 4 and 5, 3, 4, 5, just all day. It was jam and rehearse that, and also just vary the tempos and vary the style. Like, all we did was swing. Let's do bossa nova, Latin, right, or funky, or like it's important to hear that. And the only way to play 288 like that, like they did, and to have line, like the lines make sense. There's phrasing, and it's straight ahead. Like there's no distortion pedal, whatever. The only way to do that well is to be able to do it at 320, so that 288 feels slow. But really, because if you play blues improv at 160 for 3 months, and I'm going to tell you, all right, we go Ebersold 112, a 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3. So you'll be able to see things in slow motion, but you gotta improvise at 160 and 180, and also not to assume that's going to be the same vocabulary. That's a big lesson I had. Like there's a guy that wrote an article about that. You can assume that when the tempo goes up, you're going to play more quarter notes and less 8 notes. You play more half notes and because, you know, if it's 100, you may play triplets and even 16th notes, but you can't play 16th notes at 200.
Right.
Well, not most of us, at least. So it's important to not assume that the same lines will come up just faster. They won't. You're going to have to structure your solo differently. So. Okay, well, that was a great talk. Interesting call. We will look at my song, which is one of the first times I've ever said that. My song is called The Time It Took. And that record was me going 10 years of, I'm going to go for this. I'm going to go to Montreal and eat ramen noodle and be broke and play a lot. And I recorded that after about 10 years of being very serious. And it's a very, that's 27-year-old Marc. Very immature, I think, in terms of playing. And the song is this. So it's a long form. And I will start with the composition side to help Kevin figure out like what I really meant. And I'll put it on before I talk about it and point the cursor at the screen as far as where we are. My idea was for a very fast, light and very fast. So very fast tempo, but that we could feel the half notes and the whole notes. So very, you know drum and bass music? No, it's like electronic. It's like it's very busy, but then there can be something on top that floats, that's slower. So that was my idea, but with a like straightish drum feel. So not ting, chick, kidding, but more like double or quadruple feel with a bass vamp. So that the melody that you see, the melody is mostly made of whole notes and half notes, but the tempo is super fast. I could have written out in 2/4 or cut time, right? But I didn't. I just wrote in 4/4 on the screen, and I'll put it on. And by the way, there's this B pedal that just keeps on going, and then I'll cue that. I'll tell you when it comes in. And it's an E. Yes, it's an E major. It's a vamp with 2 chords. One, two, three, four, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So at 220, one, two, 1, 2, 3, 4. I wanted to go. That would have been here, but we missed it. Here. Okay, so B, so like dark, and that's all on the 5. It's B, and then E. It opens up. It's the head. It's the color. We did 8 more bars. When I landed on one note, I remember cueing the bass player. It's like, oh, he didn't get that we're going to E. because we had a square. Like now we did 4 and then we did the 5th time because I'm like, okay, dude, let's get. So the point is between the soloist, now there was just guitar and bass, we do that B pedal and the color changed from a Dorian to a darker Phrygian back to a Dorian. So it's an alternation on a darker color. So it's minor-ish. The Phrygian has a flat 9. So I wrote it like sus flat 9, which I tell you it's not a chord that's very common. And then, so compositionally, I had that picture for a fast light. I think I wrote 1 or 2 songs like that. I wrote a bunch, like 100 songs or more. There's only like a handful I recorded. And then my idea for it was pa, pa, ba, da, te, da. That's it. So then, da, so you see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, ba, te, do, da, ti, da. And then the rest is expanding upon that. So there's da, te, ba, da, ti, da, da. So we go from E major to C sharp minor, so that's a relative minor, and then we go to E minor. Speaking of April, I'll remember April, major to minor, anyone? And then relative major to that, G. And then here I wrote the bass button, tang, kang, kang, gong. And then what's funny is I wrote that the line draw here, right? I'll put it back on the head so you hear it's like tang, kong, kong, and then the melody here replies to that. Ti ta po pa. So that what I would consider A prime, and then here you just have the bridge. Again, G major, E major, F minor. I'm not sure why. That's just the color I heard, and then that would be the last. Like say that's A prime. That's A prime. It's not exactly the same, but it's still inspired by pa, pe ba da de da. And then da, 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 half step higher, da, half step higher. And then we could call this the bridge. Whoops, sorry. This we could call the B because it's really contrasting. And then that would be like C or the wrap up where it's sort of peak. And then we go into the interlude. I should have written like on cue or ad lib, like just do it as many times as you need before the soloist goes, okay, I'm done with that vamp. Let's go back to the top and I'll solo on the form. So notice it's a 32 bar form, right? It's A, B, well, A prime, B, C. It's fast. The chords are not crazy. And compositionally, it just really, I remember that period of my life. I wrote that ba, pe, da, da, di, da, da. Any questions on the composition side? Because Kevin, you wanted me to address it. No, we don't hear you anymore. How come? Oh, yes.
How about now?
Yes.
Okay. I guess the thing about it was it wasn't what I was expecting.
To read?
And so, I mean, you hit on it. It was a point in time during your guitar playing career and studies and recording and all that stuff. And you landed where you landed for certain reasons. And that's really kind of what, I mean, I try to think if I put out an album, you know, based on what I had done the last 10 years, if I were consistent with that anyway, what would it sound like? I have no idea. So let's just get, but the thing again, just listening real closely, some of the subtleties in there, I guess my overall comment is, I'm really impressed with how you did that without just showcasing from the word go. Does that make sense?
You mean not blowing my load in the first 2 bars?
Yes. Yes.
Well, it's an acquired skill, as you know.
It's tantric, right?
Tantric jazz, yeah. But it's hard. But also my action was relatively high on that guitar. It's a blue one. It's the only guitar really I recorded with. It's a telly, and I hear it when I go like like you hear chromatic lines, and you hear I hit the pickup. I'm like, ugh. It needed a setup. It's better set up now. So one way is to have a hard to play guitar. Another way is I was a little puppy because that day I told you we recorded these 5 tunes. I have the 5 lead sheets in that PDF if you guys want it, and we recorded them 3 times. Here, and here. 5 originals. And I expected to be able to mix and match the best takes, but tech moved the mics, so we have the 5 last ones. So that's like a live record without an audience, which is terrible because we did a way better job on this other take, but we couldn't. The guy's an engineer. Like when I met him a year after, I'm like, "How are you, man?" It's like Dimitri. It's like my stuff plays on the radio, man. It's like, oh, so he's doing record mastering for FM stuff, like pop and like big. He told me some of the acts, the French Canadian acts that he mastered for. I'm like, oh, he's plugged in. So really good. He did his master's degree or PhD sound engineering. So how do you not blow your load fast? Number one, I was a puppy. And I was so glad to play with these 2 guys. Maybe we rehearsed once and then we had a gig at upstairs. I'll show you a poster. And they're so good. Alan, the drummer, is from New Brunswick. Marcin is Polish, but he moved to Windsor when he was a kid with his parents. He did a bunch of cruise ship gigs. Kindest guy, super supportive. He gets it. We went to the same school, but he was like 10 years before me. So I'm like, I'm the baby of the group. I'm the least experienced. So they lift me up. So I'm like, what business do I have shredding? I was just sitting there listening to them. Like, oh, wow, that's so much. And, I brought food. Like, I brought fresh baguette and cheese, and we had a coffee, and I'll play my tune. And I paid them, of course. But the point was, I was really happy to do that because it took me 6 months to put it all together, recorded, printed. I have physical copies of this, and I did an actual CD launch. I did everything, so it was a year-long project. So one way is to be. I was really grateful to be there. Number one. Number 2, the guitar action. Number 3. Just try to serve the tune, and also it was a 220 tempo, so I couldn't really play fast on that tempo. So I reverted to play some quarter notes, and as I told you guys, just slower vocabulary. Yeah, that's it. And also, a key point we didn't hit on is I would do a way better job of playing, like performing it and improvising on it today. But when we just listen to that, go, whatever. And then you see it in writing, like, it doesn't look like I think it should look, right? But it's a lead sheet.
That's a great point.
Yeah. So here's the thing. If I have a musical vision that sounds like something with a bass and a drum, say, or maybe a piano player or a sax player, if I have that in mind, I have to find a way to communicate that musical vision so the guys can get it as quickly as possible. So I learned that skill as well. That's just a lead sheet, but I wrote it to it's light and fast, and I would tell the guys but super light with that vamp between solos. They go, yeah, got it. 32 bar form. These guys have been playing forever. The cruise ship gigs, the guy's 6 gigs per day, on the cruise ship. So give him any chart, like any Chick Corea tune or bebop tunes, like, yeah, right? So how do I communicate that? I'm like, that's the feel for it. Those are the chord changes. This is the melody. There's some arrangement stuff I didn't put in there. They didn't need to know. They didn't need to know it, but I needed a way to learn that communication skill. So I wrote a lead sheet. I wrote a bunch of tunes to which we just had a lead sheet. But the lead sheet is, here's what you need to know about that tune that I want you to perform. And that's not something I've ever addressed in Jazz Guitar Accelerator or any courses, any classes, but it's something you got to do. Not because your musical vision is not good, not because it's about skills, whatever. It's just like you got to open the door. So it's like if I want to learn to talk to my computer, I have to code in C++ or Python. It's that. Like you have to find a way a common ground to do it. I'm not going to speak zeros and ones, but could we just find a happy medium? Okay. And they would play it and go like, is that what you mean? It's like, no, whoa, no, here, Alan, do that. Hit the cymbal a bit later, please. And how long will you solo? So for them, it gives you, it's like, oh, you will take 2 courses of solo. So it gives them space to pace themselves in accompanying you. And also, they heard it 2 or 3 times, and they go, got it. Like, so they hear the forms. They went to bed at night, they heard it in their mind, they looked at the sheet and went like, oh yeah. Then they got drunk at the bar, going to the jam session, and we show up next to it, right? So there's that component that we never talk about, but it's musicians communicate with each other with sheet music, and that's not classical sheet music. Here's what you're supposed to play. It's more like, here's my grand vision for that tune. I wonder, like, we don't have that, but imagine what Pat Metheny group members had. Yeah, they had sheet music, but sometimes they got cues and they would rewrite and whatever. And then they show up, they do like 300 concerts a year, and no one has music stands. Have ever noticed? So that vision has been communicated clearly. They nail it, they rehearse it, they recorded it, then they do away with the sheet, and then they show up. They're like, we're playing Tokyo. Let's go. And, so that's a big part of it, which I've honestly abandoned that pursuit a while ago. So we didn't talk about the improv yet. So that's what I can tell you about that experience. It's been 14 years that I have one gray hair. It's right here. Just the one. Any other questions about the composition side?
No, that was awesome stuff. Thanks for that.
Of course.